I built an entire app using Claude Code for free. In this app, you can add a ticker, and once you click on Get Price, you can get current price and volume information. I'm using Claude Code with a private model called gpt-oss 20 billion rather than paying for an API. Claude Code is amazing to build softwares and it provides loops, tools, memory, MCP, and more. But the downside is that cost of the API is too high. Ollama is now compatible with Anthropic's Message API, so you can use local models like GPT-oss with Claude Code. Let me walk you through a step-by-step process. How can you enable Claude Code with local models? I would recommend you to start with WSL. The step one is to make sure that you have a Ollama version of 0.14.0 or higher. It's very simple. If you already have Ollama installed, you can check it via Ollama version. As you can see, my version is 0.14.2. But if you do not have Ollama, you can download it from here. If you do not have Ollama, you can go to this website and start downloading Ollama from here. The next step is to make sure that your context limit is 32K. This is because Ollama has a default context limit of 4K, and for vibe coding, you need larger context window. To do that, you simply set context length is equal to 32K for Ollama. The next step is to make sure that you have the required model with you. So for example, in this case, I want GPT-oss 20 billion model, and I can check whether it runs or not. I can say hi and see whether we are getting a response or not. Okay, so this case, our model is working. The next step is to install Claude Code. Installing Claude Code again is very simple. You can run this command and it will install Claude Code for you. Ollama has a detailed blog how to use these step by step. I will point out this blog in the description. But as you can see, I have the Claude Code set up locally. Now, the next step is to set two environment variables. Here they are. The first one is Anthropic auth token, which is set it as Ollama. And we have to set base URL. Here to note that we are using the default port. But if your Ollama is running on any other port, you should set that port here. After setting the environment variable, you are almost done. You can start using the Claude model. So you can run this command, Claude model, and the model name. It will start the Claude and you can start typing your queries. Let's try a simple query. Create Python function to sum two numbers. One of the things to note here is that the amount of time it takes to run the code depends on your machine configuration. It takes a long time since a 20 billion model is running on a local machine. I have already tried two different queries. Let me show you that. The first query I tried is to create a Python function to sum two numbers. And as you can see, the model has created a Python function for us. If you run this Python function by giving two input integers, it gives you the sum of those two integers. All right. Then I try to increase the complexity and ask Claude Code to create a Python function which can get me the live stock price. It used yfinance API and created a detailed Python function to get the stock price. It also added the documentation how to use it. So let's give it a try. I want to find out the stock price for Apple. And as I run this, you can see that I can get the stock price and other details for Apple. Then I also wanted to further increase the complexity, like building a website from a single prompt. Here you can see I have written a single prompt where I wanted to build a website to check the stock price using yfinance as backend. And as you can see, it started writing all the files for us. Another interesting thing is that you can now use Anthropic API to call local models. I have a sample code here. Let's try to run this. As you can see, we are setting up a base URL and API key as Ollama. We are setting up a model as GPT-oss 20 billion. And we are asking to write a function to check if number is prime. As you can see, it runs the local model and give us a Python code for that. It has not just given it in Python, but also given in JavaScript. The other thing you can use is tool calling. So here I have a sample tool called get weather, and I'm asking a query, what's the weather in San Francisco? And the tool should be able to call this tool. So the model should be able to call this tool and get the right answer. So let's try this out. As you can see, it has correctly identified the tool, get weather, and the location as San Francisco. This is huge because using this is free, it's private, and it's flexible, that you can use any specialized coding models which might be better or faster. There are other features in this endpoint, like you can system prompt, you can do a multi-turn conversation, you can add images, as well as you can do tool calling or extended thinking. Should explore this documentation from Ollama to get further details.